Yes, people. Hope everyone is doing good. I apologise as well. I've been away. I've been very busy with climbing mountains and just work. So thank you for everyone for your support. We're back with the wingers. Leeds United are not signing Igor Paixão, which is genuinely gutting. Someone I absolutely love and I've loved since the start of last season. Instantly stood out to me last year. What a player. But anyway, we move. There's more options. There's more players out there. Are they as good as him? Who knows? I guess we'd find out when we sign one. Let's get into the list. And just very quickly as well, I'll go through my list. You guys can read. Obviously, players like Anis Hadji Musa, a player I really like, didn't make the final list because I'm not convinced he's ready yet. I think he's got a lot of decision-making stuff to do. He can be very greedy. Players like that. Ludovic Blas, yeah, has he got that edge for the Premier League? Ali Cho, young player, needs more experience. There's a lot of players here like Julian Duranville. I really like. He's so talented, by the way. One to watch for the future, 100%. Just like Elias Answer as well. Justin Ninjama, another one similar. Yeah, there's a lot of good players in it. And Pedro Gonçalves, a guy I know Andrea absolutely loves. I do like him a lot. I'm not convinced he's gettable for Leeds United. But I could be wrong. I'm quite pessimistic sometimes when it comes to who we can sign. Ismail Garhabi, another one, seriously talented player. Yeah, there's a lot of good talented players in here, especially the ones in red that didn't make the list. Very good players. Juric there and Nene there. But yeah, let's get into the list. Let's go. And I've started off with right-sided. Now, this was important because obviously Igor Paixão was left-sided, right? That was what he played. We were looking for a left winger. I don't think, or I'm not convinced there's a plethora of left wingers that can even talk to Paixão or that level. I think it's quite difficult for what we need. So I've gone for right-sided and left-sided. There's two different slides with each side on. We have Willian Onto, for me, can play either side very effectively. We've seen that in pre-season. We've seen it in the Premier League. We've seen it in the Championship. He's quite versatile in which side he can play on. So for me, I've gone for both because I think there is variety in the way we play. We can have different profiles. We can have different types of players and different wings depending on the game. So I've not just gone for right-sided. I've gone for left-sided as well. But we'll start with the right-sided. Now, these six are, in my opinion, best kind of six. What I will say is they're not all perfectly systematic players. For example, Victor Yankov here. I believe that's how you say it. Now, as much as this guy, and if you've not seen this guy, I believe he's linked to Arsenal not so long ago, about probably a year ago. Seriously talented, highly technical, very smart player, good in possession. Now, I don't think he suits our system perfectly. I think we need aggressive runners, high profile kind of forwards that are going to blitz defenders, that are going to run at distance, that are going to run far, that work in transition, that work in quick counterattacks, that can kind of feed off 1v1 situations and be aggressive on the ball. That's the main thing for me, and ideally have end product. He isn't that. For me, he's a guy who works in teams that are high possession teams. He likes close quarter stuff. He's very technical around the box. But a very talented player. I'm not convinced he's perfect for the way we play. Diego Lopez is a player that is very new to me. Seriously impressive. I absolutely love this guy. Played for the Spanish national team as well. Played for Valencia last season. In the second half of the season, when Carlos came in, really found consistency. And honestly, from what I've seen, that isn't loads, but it's enough to make me go, wow, this guy's decent. What stood out to me about Diego Lopez was how versatile he is in his play. Although he's a winger, this guy is so comfortable at popping up anywhere in the final third. He does everything with aggression. He does everything with pace. That's one thing I like. His intensity is what stood out in the way he attacks. Just seriously, it's impressive in the way he moves. You know, sometimes players can be quite static in their movement. I think what we need players who can move quickly, but also not once, but twice, three times. You know, that quick change of direction, that quick decision to find the space, to attack a space. For me, Diego Lopez is exactly that. I'll put his stats up next to me. Had a good season as well. A very good season for a young man, relatively young man. one thing that stood out, I've just got my notes here because I've got each notes for each player. One thing that stood, there's a lot of players. One thing that did stand out as well is how it was quite difficult to mark because of his versatility. He's not someone that's just going to hug the line and play 1v1. He's someone that is going to move. He's going to run in behind. He's going to run on your blind side. He might even switch the play. He might even go to the other side. Really like Diego Lopez. I do think he can be a bit more effective, and he's got a bit more development and understanding of off the ball. He presses well, but I just think there's a little more he could do in terms of his defensive kind of positional play. Dodi Lukebakio is another one who recently impressed me. I watched him a bit at Hertha Berlin a few years ago. I've not watched him since he went into Sevilla until last night. Now, he's frustrating is what I'll say. He frustrated me anyway, and not in a bad way. In a, you have so much, please give me more. There was moments I watched 2 games. There was moments where he was unplayable, but there was moments where very simple, basic things he got wrong. But like I said, there was moments where he was unplayable. Left-footed as well on that right side. Is that something we're looking for? What I would say, we don't have a left-footed player. I think that's crazy. In our front players, we don't have one. I think that's nuts. I think that's insane. Most teams should or will. I think it just brings a bit of variety, a bit of difference in the way you attack. A bit more for the defenders to think about when you have guys who can play on either side, but also are different footed. It just does. It changes the threat massively. But yeah, he's one I like. Obviously, is in this list. But yeah, it was just a little inconsistent in the way he played. But what I will say about him is a constant threat. His running in behind, his straight line speed is really impressive. Really did anchor down and sprint into attacking the fullback like Dan James does. Once you've got the ball around him, he will look, right, I'm running towards that fullback. I'm getting beyond in that space, and I'm doing it quickly, and I'm doing it direct. That's something I did like about him. But probably one that I might need to watch a little more to get a bit more of a sample size. Ups and downs to performance, but there's something there for him that I really like. Ansgar Nauf. Now, I've watched, apart from, a few of these guys I've not seen loads of, I have seen quite a bit of this guy. I watched a lot of Frankfurt last season, and I watched him in the under-21s. He's 23, but qualified because of when the qualification part was. Now, one thing I like about him, or one thing that's one thing that stands out is he likes to stay wide. A lot of his creativity comes from wide areas. A lot of these wingers are quite versatile. Whereas he's tidy in possession, and he can be quite tidy in any third. That's one thing he is really good at. He's very tidy. He's very neat. A lot of his direct play comes in wide areas where he's facing the fullback. Very quick in the first 10 yards, which makes him really, really kind of deadly in 1v1 situations. So he definitely, for me, has a good mix of combination play deeper, combination play wide, but then also deciding if there's not a combination to just go 1v1, beat your man. Very good in terms of finding a cross as well, whether that's a cutback, hitting it hard across the box. He's got that final product in terms of delivering. There's still consistency issues for me. I think there's times where he goes quiet in games and he doesn't quite do what he could. He's had a good career. He's got decent numbers, but he's not quite hit that next level yet. Will that happen in a better side? Will it happen in a more intense league? Potentially. He's still 23. But definitely an interesting player, and one I do like. Idon Zegrova. Now we're getting into the 2 serious players right here. And they're all serious, obviously. I like them all. But these 2 guys are by far my top 2. 100%. Now, Zegrova, sorry. Plays at Lille. He's had a big injury this season, which massively obviously affected the amount he played. Left-footed as well. Trademark. Cutting in, hitting one, curling one. Trademark. Watch this guy play and he'll do it 2 or 3 times. Likes to shoot, always looks to shoot, always looks to attack inside the box, which I like. Because when you've got players that are not only good dribblers, but players that are direct with it, not necessarily just down the line, but really attack the heart. if you can have movement around those players and they have the technical skill to find a pass in these areas as well as shoot, you're looking good. If you can create combinations either to feet with the winger and the striker, or winger cuts in, striker makes that running behind into the box, you're laughing. For a team like us, I think it's important because we need variety. Because there will be teams where, there will be games and teams that sit deeper and we need to break it down, but there'll also be times where we're relying on quick movement from our winger and our striker to create combination. And this guy for me is key to that. He's got insane ball control. Just such a fun player to watch. I genuinely do believe that. If not for a bad year with injury, I think this guy, and he still could, by the way, I'm not saying he's necessarily realistic. I think it'd be a very, very, very difficult one to get. Because like Paixão, I think he could play at a seriously, seriously high level. But he's had a bad year with injury, so maybe that helps in our favour. He'd be very hard to get. Seriously fun to watch. His left foot is a joke. His combination play is a joke. His creativity around the box is a joke. He's close to Paixão for me. Very close. Just on the other side. Not necessarily stylistically, just in terms of calibre player. Really good player. And finally, the one I want, Luis Enrique, although to be fair, these two are, I don't really care. I like all of these players. Luis Enrique, who plays for Zenit St. Petersburg. What's annoying, and this is why I always try and stress, it's not always about looking at GNA. Because if you look at this guy's GNA, although it's not terrible by any means, you look at it and go, the numbers are outstanding. Well, that's true. But there's context to that. Now, obviously plays at Zenit, which is a shock. Probably shouldn't be there. Came through at Betis, had some decent times at Betis. Now plays for Zenit St. Petersburg. Obviously played in Brazil before that, Botafogo, I believe. And I've watched a few games of this guy now, as of about 2 or 3 days ago, and I am seriously in love with this football player. When you look at Brazilian players, you know what you want, you know what you need, and he has all of it. He's seriously flary. He is ultra impressive in 1v1s, but not only that, he will attack. He will get through. You know, this guy will go on runs where he'll take 3 or 4 people on. Now, what he's missed, and I think what he's lacked in his career so far, is serious, consistent end product. Or maybe even a system that suits him. But what I realised about Zenit is they play a strange way in the sense that he's not necessarily always a big part of their final attack. He's very much a 1v1 winger. I don't think that suits him, and I think he's been kind of casted into that role. Whereas that is what he's good at. I think there's more to his game. I think he can be a bigger part of a team. I know people are going to say, well, he's playing for Zenit and his numbers are amazing. Why would you sign him? If you look at his deeper numbers and the fact, by the way, people, that this guy is getting called up for Brazil still, ahead of Paixão, kind of states and shows that he's a serious player. One, for me as well, is he's quite a big guy, not massive, but for me, he's a player that suits the Premier League. For me, he's ready for the Premier League. Strange move to Zenit, honestly. I don't know the stuff behind all that. Strange move, in my opinion. Get this guy around some quality players in the Premier League. I think if you can get creativity around him and actually be in a system, where you can create, and he's a creator in that system and not just a 1v1 guy who then has to find a pass in the box, he gets serious numbers and he gets seriously effective play out of him. Ultra fun to watch. Ultra Brazilian. Strange move, in my opinion, to Zenit. Ready for the Premier League. Go watch him. I advise it. Yeah. As I said, Zenit attacked through the middle. They had midfielders who would drive through the middle. You know, wide play wasn't their creative areas. Ours is. Transitionally, he's a beast. He would destroy. Works for me. Left-sided. Now, I won't spend as much time on the left-sided ones because, quite frankly, I don't think that it's as strong. I do want to mention Bakwa real quick. I know he's been named. He's been mentioned. A player, obviously, I watched a lot of Strasbourg because of other areas of the pitch. He didn't actually play in one of the games, which is annoying, but one of them he did. I think he's a very good byline 1v1 winger. I don't think he's very versatile. I think he's a little raw in his end product still. But obviously extremely talented. Really good 1v1 winger. Will create loads in that sense. But yeah, the left-sided ones now. And you can tell there's another Brazilian who... Oscar. Big up Oscar, by the way. He told me about this guy, and I've just been watching. My God. We'll start with Mika Götze at Ajax. Now, again, there's a few young guys in here, and that wouldn't suit our profile. I'm not saying it would. These just players I like. Like I said, I struggled more with the left-sided ones. There is some guys at the start which I could probably put in here, but I just wanted to put some variety in there. Mika Götze is a player who... He's had a bit of a decent season, breakthrough season at Ajax. Not been the main guy there all season. But anyone that watches him just knows how seriously talented this guy is. What I love about him, what really impresses me about him is his ability to stop and then go from 0 to 100 really quickly with the ball at his feet. A lot of wingers kind of gradually grow into it. They need to be sprinting to take guys on. This guy can stop and go from 1 to 100 ultra quick. His first 2 or 3 touches of the ball are very quick. His feet are very quick. You know that little shuffle from one foot to the other. He's got that down to a T. And I really like his ball striking. It's the thing that stood out to me. Kind of passes it. He doesn't, it's kind of a pass, nicely placed, curls. Doesn't necessarily strike at his laces. He likes to go around the ball, little cut in. One of them players who can shoot from kind of difficult angles, through legs, through open legs, round players. Good guy in terms of player. Good guy, what am I about? Good player. One to watch for the future, 100%. I don't know if he's ready for the Premier League, just to be clear. I like him. One guy I think is ready for the Premier League is Zoriko Davishashvili. How have I done there? Davishashvili. I've been pretty good, I reckon. Anyway, plays at Saint Etienne, who I believe have been relegated. According to Transfermarkt, they're in the second tier, which... And if you've not watched this guy, he just looks to me like a Premier League player. Obviously left-sided, right-footed again. Small, but strong. Quick. Ridiculous low sense of gravity. Extremely versatile, which I like about him. Again, a lot of different profiles in here. Guys who like to stay out wide and just be 1v1 wingers. Players like, I call him Zoriko, who are serious versatile players who just look to cause trouble anywhere. Really love his intensity in the way he plays. One thing that he does when he gets the ball, he's always looking to shoot. I think it's really important. I've not mentioned it yet. The way we play, I don't want passive wingers. I don't necessarily care about safe wingers. I want wingers who are going to create. I want wingers who are going to shoot. Take the man on, drive into spaces, be brave, take risks, and shoot. We need output, in my opinion. We need output. We need players who are going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, take their chances, and shoot. Take shots, be dangerous. And this guy will do that to a T. If you've not watched him, he's seriously impressive. Player I absolutely love. I'd love him at Leeds United. I genuinely would. I think he's outstanding. Amin Adli. Now, I'm huffing because there's something that's there for him that I just think he's not quite grasped being a consistent player at Bayer Leverkusen in the last few years. Now, you've got to remember, they were one of the best teams in the world the last 2 years. They've been extremely impressive. And he's been a part of it. The season before last, he was a much bigger part of it. Last season, not so much. Had a few injuries as well. But there's something about him that I've always liked. He's very elegant. He's a very elegant player who just strolls through the games in a good way. One-touch player where he needs to be. 1-2s, quick movement, attack space as well. Very versatile again. Can play up top, can play on either side, can play in the 10, has done that consistently. A player who works in all the 3/3 for me. He can pick the ball up deep, he can go wide, he can be central, he can be high up. Not quite, like I said, not quite found, though, I believe, his role and his style, which has meant he's not necessarily been a key part. And I think he's a player who needs to find that. Left-footed, left-side player, but can play either side. I mean, Adley, I've always watched him and I'm like, yeah, he does things and you go, yeah, this guy's quality. But then there'll be games where he doesn't play or he'll go 20 minutes without touching the ball. But then there'll be 5-minute periods where he does 5 or 6 different things and you go, well, wow, this guy's quality. He needs to find his role for me. A player that I'd advise you guys to go watch. Good player, very silky, like I said, very elegant. Jean Mateo Bahia. Again, very quickly on this guy. Broke into the team this season at Frankfurt. Serious talent. One to watch in the future. Not ready for the Prem, just to clarify. But I put him in here because I like him and I want to say his name. It's a great name. Jean Mateo Bahia. But yeah, seriously talented player. Jamie Liuling. So apologies. Different profile. That's why I put him in here. He's very big. He's very strong. He actually looks quite cumbersome. But actually, he's one of them where he gets the ball and drives with it. It kind of moves pace and power because of how big he is. He's not elegant. He's not necessarily elegant. He's not someone that's going to nip through 3 or 4 bodies. He's someone, though, that is a physical threat, which I think's a bit of a different mix. Maybe not system-based for Leeds United. That player I like. He's played for Germany. Big physical presence, 100%. Works hard. Gets in good positions. Like I say, likes to dominate. Interesting player. But yeah, Kevin Lopez, again, big up Oscar for mentioning this guy to me. This guy is what a baller. There's no other better term. He's a serious baller. My only concern is he's playing at Shakhtar Donetsk. Not the best level. Just watch this guy play football. Oh my god, he is a joke. Very raw still. A lot to improve. But if we want to have a bit of fun in this window, and we want a left-sided Brazilian who can cut in on his right and just ridiculously skillful, likes to drive, likes to shoot, likes to find spaces, likes to be fun. You know, Kevin Lopez is that guy. That's all I'm going to say. Go watch him. Seriously talented player. Out of these guys, I'm probably angling to either Lopez or Davishvili, to be honest. I think David Ashtville, works systematically better for us. Adley's an interesting one. Lopez, Kevin, he's called Kevin. I believe he gets called Kevin. Kevin is serious football player. But yeah, that's it, people. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for your support. I am going to go through the videos, I promise. I've just been so busy and away from YouTube for the last kind of week or two. Work's been crazy. Other stuff as well going on. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.